Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads. It is a very chilly weekend. I have very little planned, so I am going to be reading 2 books. Putting it out there. The plan for this video is I'm going to finish 2 books, both of which I've kind of started, so that's a bit of a cheat. First up is The Game is Murder. This is on my November TBR. I forgot what month we were in. And it is a murder mystery that the reader, has to solve. I'm a little bit in. I'm only 10% in. And I am enjoying it so far. I'm very intrigued because it's a very strange kind of book. I am so far feeling that it's not a novel. It's more of a game. A little sort of role play kind of murder mystery evening type book. But again, I'm only 10% in. I will have more thoughts and feelings when I read more. This is also my new Kindle. Well, this is my new Kindle. My Kindle eventually, I've had it for 10 years and it was secondhand when I got it. It died. And my boyfriend changed the ownership of his Kindle to me. So I can read it because I read electronic books more. But obviously we can share. We have a shared library, so either of us can pick it up. And the next book I'm going to be reading is One Night Under Her Spell, because I've read romance and I want to read a little bit more romance, it seems. This book, creaky bit off the floor, as always. This book focuses on a romance between a tea making witch and a knight who is a baker, but the knight masquerades as the king for the purposes of jousting because the king is not in a position to joust. So he has this, what I can only assume is hunky baker, because it's a romance book. He has to be hunky or like smell nice or have nice cable knit jumpers. These are the rules of romance. And I don't know. They've not met yet. I'm waiting for them to meet. There's a weird kind of authority figure, Citadel, who are really against magic. So I'm hoping they don't play too much of a starring role in this book, because I hate, with a fiery passion, books that have like witch hunters or like that kind of character. I don't like it. I don't want it. So I'm hoping they're not too important to this book, or I'll be like, There's a cat. There's a lord who's been turned into a cat. I don't know why, but I love a book with a cat. There he is, little Lord Percival. And so far, I'm having a good time. I've only read like a teeny bit, but the book was having a moment in a market where the main character, her name is Fedora, which is probably short for Nymphadora, but it's definitely giving me a little, where my hug at? Those creepy guys with the fedora at nightclubs that really were popular in the early, well, mid to late 2000s, I suppose. And the baker's called Finn. The witch, Fedora, probably Nymphadora, she was at this market and they were like, oh, what brought you to Stonehaven? And they'd just been talking about how the fish couldn't be fresh because it was 2 days from sea. And I was giggling because Stonehaven is a real place that is not too far from Aberdeen. It's a gorgeous fishing town, village. It's very small. But it was making me giggle because, well, you know, a mention of a place that I know that's near, but also definitely would have fresh fish. So yeah, that's just a little thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll be reading this weekend. I have plans to go for coffee because I always have plans to go for coffee, and I might have a little mosey around town because the decorations are starting to get put up and it's gorgeous. But yeah, I'm planning such a chill little weekend. I might go make a salad. You do win friends with salad if the salads are nice. Before I tell you about The Game is Murder, which I have now finished, I have to tell you that I have eaten the most delicious baked good. I don't know how relevant that is to the video, but I just need you to know. We went to Gaelic Lane, which is one of my favourite cafes, and I got a toffee apple blondie. I'm not 100% sure what a blondie is. I think it's a brownie minus the chocolate, maybe. Not a big chocolate fan, so that works in my favour. And it had, toffee, and had spices, and had like this sort of like caramelly goodness. It was amazing. If I wrote sonnets, I would write a sonnet about this baked good because it was amazing. Loved it. I also just loved having a nice little chill moment in a cafe. Delightful. I have now finished reading The Game is Murder, and I genuinely am unsure how to rate this book because it's not a book. It is a book, but I don't feel like it is. It is an interactive book, which to me is more game versus novel. However, there are novel type moments in the book. The book focuses on a murder has happened, historically, of course. And you are reading from the perspective of a detective who has been brought to this dinner party and tasked with solving the crime. Who done it? And the book sort of starts with those kind of Cluedo-like vibes, which I love. I love Cluedo. It's my favourite board game. And the book does this thing of talking to you as a reader, which is a running joke I have in my book club because one of my friends absolutely hates reading books and being addressed, dear reader. And that was a bone of contention they had with reading Plain Bad Heroines, whereas I don't generally mind it. But reading this book, I totally got their point of view because it happens so often. You, as the reader, are basically given the job of solving the whodunit. However, then that is quickly taken away from you and given to a named detective, which annoyed me a bit because I thought, I don't mind. I'll get a pen and paper. I will solve this crime. I do not have those skills, but I was willing to try. But then, the responsibility is taken away from me and given to some dude. We have I'm not really sure how to describe the characters. This was incredibly meta. There is the detective, there are the children of the suspect who are now adults, and there are all of these people at the dinner party. However, none of the people are actually at the dinner party because this isn't real. And you as the reader are told this dinner party isn't actually happening, but then the dinner party is described in minute detail. It was a delightful menu. There were prawn cocktail. I love prawn cocktail. There were beef Wellington. I've never had beef Wellington, but I think I would love beef Wellington. I love pastry. And then there's summer pudding for pudding. And I hate summer pudding because I don't think bread belongs in desserts. I also think it speaks volumes that I don't remember, even though I only just finished it, the name of the characters. But I remember the pudding. I remember the food. Actually, no, one of the characters is called Egg. But it's really weird because there are moments where the narrator is talking to you, me, the person reading the book, and kind of like bring me in, but also reminding me none of this is real. The author shows up at one point. There are a lot of comments, little digs in the book towards mystery novels, which I at first thought was quite funny, and then I thought was just a bit catty. And there's a few moments where the book is heavily inspired by Lord Lucan, kind of mysterious real life tragedy, and the book mentions a little dig about novels that are inspired by real cases, especially crime. And I was thinking, I 100% agree. I get a bit of an ick reading, especially crime that's inspired by real crime. And this was before it became incredibly apparent that this book was inspired by real crime. I think that this would be a fantastic book club book or buddy read. I think this book would really shine. There is a dog walking down the road. It's wearing a jacket. I love dogs in coats. Why is it in the middle of the road? It's in the middle of the road, having a great time, wearing its jacket. This book would so work as a buddy read. I think it would be amazing to read a chapter, chat about it. See if you as a group can work out who done it. Ignore the fact there's a detective who's got that job. I think that would be really fun. But as a person just sitting reading a novel, it was so strange an experience. I've never really read a book quite like this. I've read plays. I've read Choose Your Own Adventures. Love Choose Your Own Adventures. But this, I don't know. It didn't overly work for me as a concept because I was reading it as a book. But I think it would really be good as an actual game. Next, I'm going to be reading One Night Under Her Spell, which is about it's a romantasy cottagecore, apparently. Which, to be fair, there's a cottage, there's trees, there's a cat. Sounds delightful. We have a witch, her name is Fedora, and we have a knight, his name is Finn. They're gonna romance, I can only assume. She is a lone witch who lives in her little cottage in the woods, and she makes teas. And all I really know is that there will be hijinks. That's it. I don't really know. The blurb doesn't really tell me anything. One Night Under Her Spell is a cosy cottagecore romantasy bubbling with humour, heart and enough tea to drown a scandal. I don't really know what that means. Brimming with found family, love it. Cat antics, love it. And witchcraft hijinks. It's the perfect escape from the daily grind. So put the kettle on and let the sharp-tongued witch Fedora and her big-hearted baking knight Finn sweep you away on their spellbinding adventure. This sounds charming. It's a very floppy paperback. I picked this up at Somerville, my local independent bookshop. It was in the local authors section. So, Scottish author. Whoop! Happy to have another Scottish author to add to my 2025 tally. I will be back when I have read some of this. I am just giving a little quick update. I'm in the kitchen, hence the fridge. I am making soup, which is why I'm in the kitchen, because I'm cold and I'm hungry and I want bread. And what is soup if not a delicious meal that helps me eat bread? I went to town and I went to Sostrene Grene. I mainly just want to tell you what I bought in Sostrene Grene. If you don't know what this shop is, it is a delightful treasure trove. It's kind of like the best parts of IKEA. So not the furniture, although the furniture is great. It's all the sort of nice housey things mixed with like Flying Tiger. I went in because I wanted to get a candy jar. Candy words. I wanted to get a little kind of glass candy jar because I got some Mozart Kugeln, which are Mozart balls. I've butchered that name. Delightful sweets that I fell in love with when I went to Vienna a couple of years ago. And I got some and I thought they deserve their own crystal bowl to live in. But I couldn't find a bowl I wanted. But I found something else and I got this. This is an advent candle. The Christmas decorations are already up in the shopping centre. They're so cute. I have always wanted an advent candle since I was little, and I saw the candle on Blue Peter and they would light the candle and it was so adorable and I thought, I want that. Never bothered to do anything about it. But I saw this and you just basically light the candle every day from the 1st till the 24th of December. And yeah, I'm just really happy I got one. I also got this. This is a cute, very sturdy candle holder. So yes, I got these. I have made a little bit of progress in my book, still in my bag just now. I'm having a good time. It's cozy. Fedora is definitely into Finn. Finn is showing a lot of restraint. He's like, but I mustn't. Which makes me think, but you will. Because it's a book. That's what happens. I'm having a fun time. It's not like gripping me, but I'm intrigued. I will be back when I have finished it and eaten my soup. I'll be back. I have now finished, and I have my hair in the pages. I've just finished One Night Under Her Spell, and I think it's a good way to end off this video because this book was fun. It was fun. I just felt like this book was lacking something. I feel like this is the start of a series. It doesn't say that it's the start of a series. There's no other book on the author's website or reader profile, writing profile, author profile even. But I definitely am getting start of a series vibes because I had a lot of questions at the end of the book and there were just no answers. And I'm assuming that breadcrumbs are being laid for book number 2, which I would read. I would read if there was a second book. I liked the characters in this book. I thought they were fun. I thought they were adorable. I need to stop saying fun because that sounds like I didn't like it and I'm being a bit blasé. I did like it. I liked Fedora as a character, even though I definitely, every time I read the word Fedora in my mind, there was a little sort of milady kind of thing going on, which does not happen in the book. I liked Fedora. I liked that she was very independent and that she was very focused and that she had a really good heart. She put herself in danger because she didn't want to be a bad person, because she feared going to the dark side of magic and she didn't want that, which I think is great because you know that way this is a good character because they're so worried about being bad. I felt she was very endearing. Finn as a character, I wanted more from Finn. I wanted more from him. He was handsome and everybody fancied him. He was tall, he was burly, he could wield a sword. Take from that what you will. He could also bake bread, which I think is far more attractive than being able to play with a sword. You can make a loaf. That's more impressive to me. I like bread more than I like swords. He had some issues and we didn't really look to those issues. Felt a little bit like Finn had a lot of healing to do and the way that he healed was just finding Fedora and them having a very, very insta love relationship. And while that's great in fiction, I had questions. I had a lot of questions. We then have a whole motley crew of other characters. We have a very fancy lady called Seren, not to be confused with Saren, that is one of the gods, the witch gods in this book, because I kept getting very confused about how this one character would go from being revered to being unable to make toast. And it's because there are two different people with incredibly similar names. She was adorable. She was very, very likable, but very silly and made a lot of decisions that just put people in danger. So I liked her. There was an orc warrior who I loved. There was a dwarf baker who I loved. And they weren't really main characters, they were side characters. But I always love when there's a side character that makes me want to know more about them. There was also a cat character, Saren's husband, and he was adorable as a cat. We never knew him as a man. but I liked knowing him as a cat. I really liked the sort of power of friendship moments around Fedora's home. It was this cute, cozy cottage full of just like love. It was just a really happy place, and it was a sort of safe haven for people who were a little bit unwelcome in other places, and I thought that was adorable. I did not like the third act. No. Yes. I will say I hated it. That's a me problem. It's not the book necessarily. I hate, and I mean hate, when a book has magic in it and it's a fantasy book. It's not set in our reality. When that book has people who can do magic and there are witch hunters, I don't want that. I never want a book with witch hunters. In fact, generally, if somebody tells me a book has witch hunters, I'm not reading it. I don't want to. This book had witch hunters. I didn't like that. Didn't like it at all. And was very annoyed about their presence in my cute, cozy book. They ruined the vibe. However, after they went away and stopped ruining things, the book was really cute and really heartwarming, and I cried, because of course I cried, and I really, really want bread. There are so many descriptions of bread that I don't like tea. There was a lot of descriptions of tea. I hate tea unless it's peppermint or maybe a nice herbal tea. Generally, I don't want tea. I want bread though. So much bread. Couldn't stop thinking about bread reading this book. Overall, I'm giving this a 3-star because I had a good time. My heart was warmed. I smiled. But it's been a while since I updated this video because I didn't want to pick it up. I put it down and I thought it was going to be a quick read because it's quite short. It's only 340 pages and it's a pretty generous font. But I didn't feel compelled to pick it up, and I feel like for me, if I'm not thinking I want to read that book, if I don't have an urge to book a day of annual leave to read a book, which I have done many, many times before, then it's a sign that the book is enjoyed, but it's not loved. However, this is the 20th book by a Scottish author that I have read in 2025. So that's not too bad. I'm going to finish up this video because I feel I'm about to ramble. I'd love to know what you've been reading lately. Let me know because I'm nosy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!